Welcome into the FNIA podcast. As always, we are presented by Lowe's. Coach Dungy, it's a really strange pattern we're getting into, but another coach let go, another coach that's had plenty of success, wins, you name it, regular season, all kinds of wins. It's really the postseason, what it's come down to, the 8-8 record there for Sean McDermott and Buffalo. Your initial reaction to this one, Coach?
Well, I guess my initial reaction is being disappointed. As a former coach, you wonder what Sean McDermott has to do other than get a team to a Super Bowl. And I get it. I understand the Bills' ownership. You're frustrated. You didn't get to that Super Bowl in the last couple of years when you thought you could have. But when you really examine it, you've got a coach who is well respected, who has the ear of the locker room. They've been to the playoffs 7 times in a row, tremendous winning record. You've just had some disappointments in the playoffs, and they feel like they need to move on. I get it. I understand it. But I guess as a former coach, I really don't like it.
I think that all the above is fair. Let's go through this. This is the Bills rankings the last 9 seasons. So this is under Coach McDermott. Regular season win percentage, won 66% of their games. That's second over that span. Playoff berths, 8 of them. That's tied for first over that span. Playoff wins, 8 of them. That's fifth over that span. And the playoff losses with 8, that's the most. And if you listen to ownership talk, that was what he said. He said he felt like that they were hitting a playoff wall. Does the playoff wall exist, Coach Dungy?
It depends on where you are. And I look at those stats and I think back to my time as a player, and I was with the Steelers and we won 4 Super Bowls in a 6-year period of time. And the Oakland Raiders seemed to come up second every year. And John Madden, we beat them in the playoffs. We beat them in big games, beat them with the Franco Harris immaculate reception. Does that mean
Oh, yeah.
John Madden was not a good coach and they should have gotten rid of him because he couldn't beat the Steelers? No, that's maybe you lost to better teams. Maybe you did everything you could, but that's ownership's call. And I think they got to the point where they said, gosh, we've got to do something else to get to this Super Bowl. I understand it. I just don't think it's wise.
Yeah. And the interesting part about this one, too, is that Brandon Beane not only stays, he's the GM, right? Not only stays, but gets elevated to now be the president of football operations as well. He's been in that role since 2017. He'll lead the search for the new head coach. When you hear that, and it often happens, Coach, we had a similar situation in Miami where they kept the coach, let the GM go. There's some weird combination of this as we go along. When you hear not only him staying, but him getting elevated, how does that news hit you?
Well, I'm fine with that because as an owner, you have to put your confidence, your trust in someone. And they have chosen to put it in Brandon Beane. That's fine. He's been there. He's been a good employee. He has helped get this team to where they are. So now you're saying, okay, Brandon, this is on you. You've got to find us a better coach than Sean McDermott. You've got to get us to a Super Bowl, and we're going to hold you accountable. And I'm totally fine with that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got to imagine that's an attractive job. If you're one of these candidates out there, would that become the most attractive job to you?
It's attractive in a lot of ways. You've got a team that is playoff tested, they're battle tested. You've got some good people, you've got a great quarterback, but you also know that you've got an owner who is impatient. You've got an owner that thinks we've got a Super Bowl team here in the next couple of years, and you better deliver that. So if you feel confident that you can deliver a Super Bowl, it doesn't matter if you get bad calls. It doesn't matter if you're playing in snowstorms. Some way you better win a Super Bowl. If you're ready for that, I think it's a great job.
The 3 jobs now with guys who have been around for a long time. Harbaugh, 18 seasons. He's now with the Giants. Tomlin, 19 seasons, 193 wins. He is now most likely going to go into television in some capacity, although that has not been confirmed yet. It doesn't sound like coaching is in his immediate or perhaps long-term future. McDermott, 9 seasons now out. So when you look at the Bills, the Ravens, the Steelers, what would be the most attractive of those 3 jobs to you?
I think the Ravens has a long history of winning. Steve Bisciotti has stood by John Harbaugh for a long time. You've got a quarterback who can win games for you. Buffalo the same way. You've got a quarterback that can win. You've got the pieces in place, but you've got owners who are basically saying, I feel like we've got a Super Bowl team here. We haven't been to a Super Bowl. I want that Super Bowl now. Pittsburgh, you don't have an established quarterback. Maybe you bring Aaron Rodgers back. Maybe you don't. You're in a tough division. But you have an ownership that has said, you know what? I've stood beside my coach for 23 years, for 16 years, and 19 years. So that would be kind of attractive to me.
Me too. Me too. I'm kind of starting to think Brian Flores might be the answer in Pittsburgh. Your reaction to that thought?
I would love to see Brian Flores there. I think he brings what they want, that defensive minded toughness, that communication, a guy who is young enough to be there for the next 15 years. I think he's been around some really good offensive people that he could bring with him. And I think he would do a good job. But there's several candidates. The one advantage of going there, I think you will mesh with everybody else, with Omar Khan and the rest of the organization. Now, if you go to Baltimore, you've got to make sure you mesh with the quarterback. Okay? If you go to Buffalo, you've got to make sure you mesh with the new director of operations. So I think Pittsburgh's attractive in a lot of ways, but you've got to find that quarterback to help you win consistently.
Yeah, I almost feel like for me it would come down to, do you want to coach Lamar Jackson? Between these three jobs, that is, do you want to coach Lamar Jackson? Do you want to coach Josh Allen? Or do you want to go roll the quarterback carousel and see if it's the draft, see if it's Aaron Rodgers, see if it's Tua Tagovailoa? Who knows where Tua may end up? There's going to be a few of those type quarterbacks, the Sam Darnold, the Daniel Jones, which ended up being really the story of this year, Coach.
No, it is. And in this day and age, you have to find a quarterback. You have to bring the best out of him. That is the attractive thing about Buffalo and Baltimore. You have quarterbacks who have won MVPs, who have won division championships for you. You got to get them translated to going in the playoffs. But that makes those two jobs very, very attractive because it is a quarterback driven league right now.
Who do you feel like would have the most pressure of those three jobs? Bills, Steelers, Ravens.
Oh, I think Buffalo for sure, because the owner has said, I made this decision based on a failure in the playoffs. In the divisional round of the playoffs, we lost by 3 points on the road. So
Right.
that's not good enough. Okay. So as you come in knowing you could go to the divisional round next year, play a great game, lose on the last play of the game, and it's not good enough.
Yeah. Where should Sean McDermott go? I got to imagine his name's going to come up for some of these openings here.
I would think he goes right to the top of the list of people that are available now. I would look around and say, okay, where do I think there's some stability? Where is, hey, the Baltimore Ravens might not be a bad spot. Looking at these that are still available.
Yeah, that could definitely be a natural fit for him. I would think it's similar to what Harbaugh did. Let's go somewhere where there is talent, where
Yes.
there's a young quarterback. Maybe just the change of what does he do best? Do you think? Like if you're McDermott, if you're an owner looking to maybe hire him, what does McDermott do that would be? And maybe he's our guy.
Well, he has brought that unity. The players believe in him. He's been consistent, and they've won games over a long period of time, and that should be what you're looking for.
hmm and coach, officiating back in the spotlight as
Mm.
well. And this came courtesy of Mike Pereira, an old USFL buddy of mine. So I remember him well. Everybody knows Mike Pereira. He's one of those officials that, going all the way back to the note card, right? He was for the note card for the first down. But he mentioned that he thinks the NFL should look at bringing back full time officials. He said, not everyone, but I do believe the person that represents the crew in the field, the guy with the white hat, the referee, I think those 17 people should be full time working together all year. Coach, if you don't mind, explain what he meant with that and what the argument is for this.
Yes, what a lot of people don't realize is that our officials are not full time. Okay, they work very hard. They put in a lot of hours, but all of them have other jobs. So when they call a game on Sunday and they leave that stadium, they go back to their regular job on Monday. They do Zoom calls. They get memos from the league office, from the director of officiating, and they're on board, but they aren't full time. And I've had a problem with that for 20 years. I really believe that at the end of the day, after Sunday, these officials, everybody should come into New York or wherever it is, or everybody should be at their home on a Zoom and be involved in, okay, here's the calls we had. This call in the Buffalo-Denver game, it was called right. This is an interception. All of you guys need to know that. We don't do that now. We can't do that because they're working other jobs during the season. And I think that's wrong. Mike used to be the director of officiating. He says we need one person from each crew to be full-time. I think we need more than that. I think we need everyone to be full-time so everybody sees it, not just the guy who made the call and the other 15 officials hear about it by word of mouth. No, everybody needs to be on board. This is the way we're going to call this play. This is what a catch is. And they need to do that all the time. And I just think we're at a point, pay these guys what it takes to have them full time so we have all the officiating crew together and understanding exactly what we're doing. And we're too big of an organization. This is too important to have part-time men determining the outcome of a game.
And Coach, to your point, Pereira went on to say not going home in between games, but going to an officiating institute and breaking down all the games together so the messages are consistent. I'm not a fan of making everyone full-time, but making the referees, as we talked about, full-time. To me, it's time for that. So it's almost more about being together for the film study and going back through these plays together. That is really the same point you were making, correct?
Yes, and Mike feels like, well, if we had those 17 head officials, then they can get the message to their crew. I would say take it a step farther. Bring everybody together and do that same thing so that they all get the message. I don't get the message from you because I'm on your crew, and then Rodney's crew gets, a different interpretation. No, I want that head of officiating to talk to every official and say, this is the way we're going to do it. And we've been calling this as coaches for 20 years. I've been retired, and I called for it before I left the game in 2006. And so Mike now feels like it's time. I felt like it was time 20 years ago.
Okay, so let's give me the counterpoint. Would be the NFL would say, well, we have all these great referees that have been around for decades, and yeah, they might be doctors or lawyers or run some type of a finance thing, but it's worth it for us to keep these guys and keep the continuity of these guys, even if they have other jobs. That would be the counter argument.
The counter argument is, if we make it full time, we're going to lose so many of these guys because they have other jobs, they have other interests. And I would say, no, the counter argument is you got to pay them enough so we don't lose them and make it full time. And yes, you'll have 5 months off, but you'll still have training. You'll still be watching tape. You'll maybe go to mini camps and go to preseason and keep your skills sharp. There's a lot of things you could do in the off season to improve, but I think we need that continuity as we've seen the same play called differently in different games, and we get an explanation of, well, that's just judgment. I can live with the judgment, but when it's the same exact thing, it's not judgment, it's how you interpret the rule. We need to get that cleaned up.
Mm-hmm. But the Buffalo call, that's one of the most controversial of the weekend. The interception, the catch, where would you lean on that, Coach?
Well, I think by the rule, it was called properly. The way the rule states it, when you hit the ground and the ball comes loose, it becomes no catch because you didn't survive the ground. But we saw it a couple of weeks ago in a Buffalo-New England game, exact same play, happened the same way. It got reversed and turned into a catch. So that's the problem that coaches have. How can the same situation under the same rules be called differently in two separate occasions?
Which gets back to the point you and Mike Pereira were making, which is let's all get on the same page.
Right. If we had full-time officials, every official would have been in there after that Buffalo-New England game, and they would have said, we ruled it a catch, we were wrong, or we ruled it a catch and we were right. Now, if this happens again, it's a catch. And then it would have been called a catch in the Buffalo-Denver game. Or if they'd have said, you know what, we got this wrong, this should have been an interception, then everybody would have known it and we'd have been able to live with it in this game. But right now, you've got fans who say, is this a catch or is it an interception? One crew called it a catch, one crew called it an interception. Which is it? I don't
Yeah.
know, because our part-time guys are now, being lawyers, or they're doing their clinic work, and we'll talk to them on Sunday. That's the
Right.
problem.
Right. And I think one of the parts, and then we'll move on, that bothered Coach McDermott too, and he said as much, was that it just felt like they were so quick to the next play. It almost wasn't even so much of the right or the wrong call, but they were up there trying to snap the ball. His point was, let's at least look at this thing. It's going to determine the game. I mean, Buffalo's going to kick the game-winning field goal most likely, and then it goes the other way. But let's at least take the time to make sure we got it right. Would you agree with him on that?
I do, and that's another problem I have. It has nothing to do with full-time officials, but we've got what we call replay assist now, and New York can take a look at it, and they'll buzz the official and get in his ear and tell him this happened. Well, sometimes we get replay assist, sometimes we don't, or sometimes maybe we get replay assist and it's never told, and they just move on. But we need to know, as fans, as coaches, yes, New York looked at this and they called it a catch. I'd be satisfied with that, but don't just go to the next play and act like nothing happened.
Correct. I think he ended up calling a timeout just to
He did.
slow the game so that he could call the main referee over. All right, let's
And
get
what
on.
did you see? What's going on here?
That's it. That's it. Let's get to the AFC Championship. The 2 seed Patriots at the 1 seed Broncos. The Broncos going to be without their quarterback and Bo Nix. Have you ever seen something like that, Coach? You lose them on the last play. Unbelievable.
I cannot remember a backup quarterback having to play in a playoff game like this after a win. You feel very badly for Bo Nix. But I'll tell you what, the Patriots are going to have their hands full. The Broncos are handling this exactly right. We've got confidence in Jarrett Stidham. We've got a great quarterback coach in Sean Payton. He's going to put him in position. He's going to call an excellent game. And our defense is going to step up. We've won games with defense all year. We can win on defense, and they feel very good about it. So New England, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to deal with that Denver defense and score some points.
So given all of this, given that Bo Nix will not be in there, Stidham will be in there. We know Sean Payton has done it, can do it with a backup quarterback, and has a backup that he likes. Who should be the favorite in this game as you see it, Coach?
Well, I think New England has to be the favorite with the unknowns there, and the fact that New England has played exceptional football on the road. They have gone on the road and taken that energy and won games. So I would give them a little edge, but I love defense. I love Denver's defense. They're going to make it tough on them. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, close game, and the fact that Jarrett Stidham played at New England, he's going to have some incentive. This is going to be a fun matchup. I like the Patriots by that much.
Okay, just that much. Vegas actually likes them by more than that. They're by 5.5 points on the road. So that's a big correction movement based on this situation with the quarterback position. Maybe even too much of a movement, but we'll see. New England undefeated on the road this season, to your point, Coach. 8-0, only team to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think they're going to take that mentality, but I love where Denver is going to be. And I can remember Terry Bradshaw being hurt in Pittsburgh and Chuck Noll going in and telling the defensive guys, you're going to have to win it. And they took the challenge. And if we have to win this game 2-0 and we have to score the 2 points, we're going to do it. And I think that's the mentality that Denver is going to have on defense.
I think you're right. Give me the player to watch in this game through your eyes, Coach. Who will you have your eyes on here?
I think it's going to be Nick Bonito for the Denver Broncos, and that pass rush and making a game-changing play. Those outside rushers, they do it well, but he's done it all year, and I could just see the game swinging on a game-changing pass rush for Denver. So if I'm New England, I've got to make sure I take care of those guys. Chip on the edge, have the tight ends in there, give them help. Don't let those pass rushers make the game-changing play.
Yeah. All right. How about the Patriots will win if?
I think it really comes down to Drake May having a clean game. If he plays well and does what he's done all year, make the plays that are available, don't short circuit, understand that my defense is playing well too against a backup quarterback. So I don't have to do too much. I just have to make the plays that are there. If he plays well, New England will win it.
Yep. Okay. The Broncos will win. Same question. If what?
I think they've got to get some running game going. New England has been very, very difficult to run against, especially here in the playoffs. Um, Obviously, with a backup quarterback, you can't put it all on his shoulders. Run game, see if you can be physical. Offensive line, Denver offensive line, you've got to do a great job. So that will be where my focus is, watching them. How does this offensive line hold up?
I like it. All right, we'll get to the Super Bowl picks shortly. Don't want to tip those. Let's get down to the NFC Championship game and preview this one. This is the 5-seed Rams. Amazing to me they ended up the 5-seed. It was really the end of that season where they took some losses. They took on some water. They ended up the 5-seed at the 1-seed Seahawks. Opening thought on this game, Coach?
Well, to me, this is a classic and a well-deserved championship game. That NFC West was the best division in football. You had three teams who could have been the 1 seed in the last 2 weeks, going back and forth. San Francisco goes on the road, upsets Philadelphia. So you have this battle going on, and now it's two teams that have played each other twice. They know each other very well. There's some not friendly blood in between these two teams. It's going to be a game of execution. They know each other. There aren't going to be a lot of surprises. Who can come out and execute their plan of attack, stay away from the turnovers, and roll? And to me, that's what I'm looking at in this game. Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford, you have to function at a high level and not turn the football over.
I would say that is for darn sure. The favorite, you would guess, would it be the home team, or who would you guess?
I'm going to favor Seattle just a little bit. You're more rested.
Yep.
LA has had the tougher road. You are at home, but we know the last time these two teams played in Seattle that the Rams were up 16 points in the fourth quarter and looking like they were cruising. So, they have confidence. They know they can go up there and win. Again, to me, it's going to really come down to how do these quarterbacks perform? How is Sam Darnold? He made it through one game with that oblique injury. Hopefully that's better. But if I'm the Rams, I'm not going to let Kenneth Walker just run. I'm going to say, you know what? We've got to make Sam Darnold win this game. We've got to put the pressure on their running game. Make Sam Darnold throw 30 passes in this game.
The favorite is Seattle. They usually give a little benefit to the home team. That's the case here. Seattle by 2.5 points, so less than a field goal. As you mentioned, it's the third meeting, so it's one of those where Seattle won one, the Rams won one. It's game 3 tiebreaker now as we get into the postseason. So the player to watch in this game, Coach, you can take either sideline. The player to watch would be who?
We talked about the quarterbacks and not turning the ball over, but I really, again, will come back to the running backs. And Kenneth Walker now has the yeoman duty because of Charbonnet getting hurt. So he's got to hold the fort and run, and he's got to be their short yardage back as well. If he has a good day, that's really going to help Seattle out. On the other side, I would look at those front guys on defense and who can really create some pressure. I want to get after Sam Darnold. So that, to me, says Jared Verse. Can you have that big game? Can you be around him, move him off his spot? Can you get him thinking about you and not his downfield reads?
Fair enough. I mean, Seattle has been one of those teams all year, even going back to, we had them on Sunday Night Football. Was it Washington? I watched that a tough year.
In Washington, yeah.
Destroyed them. And they've done that throughout the course this year, even going back to last week. Now, I don't think that they'll be able to do that against the Rams, but I do think this will be a tough test for Stafford and company on that offense. Now, they've gotten healthy. Kyron Williams looked great. Devontae's now back and healthy. Puka Nacua looked awesome. So can they overcome that? But I would look at a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, who's had this tremendous career right there next to Leonard Williams. Can he go get a Super Bowl? This is really his opportunity, his team to get a Super Bowl. We talked with him about this exact thing, and he's hungry for it, Coach.
Yeah, and I think those guys are going to be a factor because I was a little surprised last week. The Bears did not have a strong run defense, and I thought Sean McVay was going to come out and run the ball. But he put it in Matthew Stafford's hands, and I think in these playoffs, he's saying, I've got the MVP. I want Matthew to win for us. So I think they're going to go up there and throw the ball. So DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, those guys become important. Can they disrupt Stafford's timing? Can they force some takeaways?
Oh, yeah, and you know it's going to be loud. All right, the Rams will win if. We'll play the same game here. What do you think?
Rams will win if Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams get going and have some success against that secondary, if they get some big plays in the passing game.
Okay, the Seahawks will win if.
Seahawks will win if Sam Darnold plays turnover free.
Yeah. 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 I can't argue with that. All right. So that gets us down to our Super Bowl picks. Rodney did send his pick in, so I'll reveal that. But, Coach, your Super Bowl pick so far would be who?
I'm going to take the home team with the 12s in Seattle and the road Warriors, New England on the road. So I think it's going to be a rematch of Super Bowl 49, Seahawks and Patriots.
Yeah. So they get their revenge, maybe. That's the Marshawn Lynch game at the goal line where he could have got the ball. He did not get the ball, and we know what happened from there.
Which we were there,
Rodney's
yes.
pick, that's it. Pats versus Rams. So you guys share the AFC and different on the NFC side, but that doesn't surprise me. That's his pick. So that's where he comes in. And he said he's surprised that he's not taking the Hawks.
He likes the Rams, and I think, and I don't want to speak for him, but when you think that quarterback who's been there, who's done it, who's taken the team to a Super Bowl versus the guy who's had great regular seasons, but we haven't seen him do it in the playoffs. Now the focus is going to be on them. I think he would maybe base this on, I have more confidence in Stafford than I do Sam Darnold right now.
Yeah, and I got to say, I think I'm going to go now. I think the Seahawks, if you go position by position, and being at home, are they the better team? Yeah, I think they may have the slight advantage, but I think the Rams have a big advantage at the quarterback position. And you know that I've been a Sam Darnold guy all year, and I really like Sam. But you're talking about against one of the best, and in the playoffs, I just think he elevates. And we've seen it. We saw it at Carolina. Saw it again last week to go get that win against Chicago. I like Stafford in this moment. I think winning that second Super Bowl puts him in this different, rarefied air that he's thinking about, that McVay's thinking about. And I think they have the offense and the defense this year to do it. To me, the best Rams team since we saw them beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. And I think they're back right there in that spot. And I think Pats Rams would be an awesome sort of new age. Here's where the NFL is, new teams, Super Bowl, that honestly, no matter what, we kind of get that effect going into Super Bowl 60.
Yeah, I'll say this. 6 weeks ago, I thought the Rams were the best team in football. In the last 6 weeks, Stafford had some uncharacteristic turnovers. Their secondary gave up some big plays uncharacteristically. They're not a team that usually happens to. So they've got to get that squared away. But if they play like they did in October, November, early December, yes, they can definitely be a Super Bowl team, and they'll be hard to handle.
Yep. So all three of us are on the Pats in the AFC, the NFC a little different. Rodney and I go Rams, you go Seahawks, and there's only one way to find out. I guess we got to play the games this Sunday. Cannot wait, Coach. Thanks so much for your time this morning. And, we're on to Super Bowl 60 at this point, I guess. From our perspective, CBS and Fox this weekend, and then we got the big one coming up.
Who are we going to see?
We'll find out. Coach, thanks so much.
All right, Jack.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.